Today we're going to push the new hero Silas to the limits in the one hero challenge to see how long he can survive solo. And if he doesn't survive long enough, then we'll stack buffs upon more buffs upon more buffs to push him to the limit. In order for Silas to last longest, I'm going to assume the map is logs, but you know, as I showed, spot hits seems pretty good for him because of the, well, you can just put him in the center and he hits everything. But given Lugs is the longest map, I figured it makes sense to try this one. Now, don't expect him as a solo hero to survive overly long because, well, he's supposed to be a support hero. As you see, he literally does not do damage until the second shot after Bloon is rhymed. Remember that, guys? Rhymed, the correct pronunciation for the hero. Now, his early game is actually pretty solid. As you see, his attacks they're not quite seeking, but I think they're coded similar to Quincy, where they'll bounce towards the next target after hitting said first target. Kind of like that, as you see. So I shouldn't expect any trouble until White Bloons, but even if there's a White Bloon, remember, we can use the level 3 Frostbite ability, or whatever it's called, to be able to pop any Bloon for a short amount of time. And if that doesn't work out, well, we can just simply buy an MIB village, and there's our White Pop power. Or alternatively, we can literally just buy level 5, which allows him to hit White Bloons part-time. Full-time comes later. Now's the time that I remind you that every time a new hero comes out, I always try this challenge, this one tower challenge. And also, ooh, purples are actually scarier than White Bloons because the Silas does not have the ability to pop them at all. Never gains that ability, so we have to save level 3 for that. But every time a new hero comes out, I will always do a solo hero test. And throughout all of the 15 plus heroes released so far, here is the results of every single one of them. Updated to the version where they were last buffed enough, I think, to receive a round increase. Stay tuned to see where Silas fits in all of that noise. Again, with all of these heroes, I actually test with an additional village because a lot of these heroes don't have the ability or have a weakness that does not get remedied, like camos, for example. So to make it fair, I add a mid for those towers so that they don't end up dying to a random camo round or the first camo round that is a threat. Perhaps this changes later, but Silas is doing a damn good job in the early game. A lot of the other heroes, I think, were already struggling this round or up to this point. But for a support hero, this is pretty damn good. But again, do remember that this guy's mob damage is really, really, really bad. So I'm going to make sure to save enough money or lives for that point. Also, I just realized that this is actually not a good spot. Not because it's not on the water, but every time balloons are leaking out the exit, notice where Silas is trying to attack or he hits instead. If there's a balloon over here, then if Silas is trying to target over here, it'll just warp back to this. You'll see if you just literally watch or look at the video. It happens quite often, but the issue is if I put Silas even lower, then he doesn't see this top side, so I don't know. I guess it might have been better to put him on the water after all. Because this is ugly. It's round 36. I'm already down to 117 lives. Level 7 will not help me. Level 8 will not help me at all, and I am getting, like, destroyed to any group round here. Level 3 doesn't save us at all. I just used it anyway for the memes. Also, I do a little bit of lying. Level 3 does give extra damage to frozen balloons, but that takes time to ramp up and does not save us against a bunch of leaking stuff like that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take some time to optimize, like actually try hard, because oh my god, is this ugly, and I can definitely get more than 58 lives ending 37. Again, if I need that, I will redo those rounds. Let's just see how far off I am from getting level 9. Level 9 would be nice, but we have to kind of hope we survive till then, because this is not cutting it. Yep, I used both abilities, and I'm basically dead to round 38. I don't know about this. Because that run looks so ugly, I restarted with Silas on the pond, or the spot that I was talking about earlier, but it turns out that was actually a little bit worse, as that just simply exaggerated the weakness of Silas even more, like on the last lane. It also turns out putting Silas a little bit lower does not help either. He just ends up leaking even more balloons, making us die on the same round as on the water. So it turns out slow and steady wins the race. In taking my time this time, I can survive round 38 with, in fact, a lot of life spare. Not a single life loss this round. Pretty awesome. I think on my initial showcase, I also assumed that Silas took the lowest XP buff rate of all the heroes so far, or at least tied for like Churchill with the lowest because, you know, I see with level 8, he gains more XP for every tier 3 Ice Monkey, so I would assume to compensate, he has way less XP gain, and that is correct. However, it's actually different from all other heroes. It's only 1.5, which is a very high attack rate, or level up rate, but at leveling up 2/3 the speed, which is oddly specific, but I think if you do the math, that means that it is the worst leveling rate. It should be lower than 1.71 that I think Adora, Churchill, and Sai take. Pretty brutal. Also brutal is this round. I think I have to, I don't know, might die this round. It's important to rhyme the balloons first before using the shard ability, because it makes it do extra damage like that. See, the balloon that I didn't rhyme ended up leaking. This round looks good though. I'll take it if we don't crit a Riga farm, and nice. We survive with 158 lives to spare, and with the ability close to being up. Come on. Let me get the ice shard so I can get some extra damage in. As you see, Silas' damage is dog water when I don't, or when it's not frozen, but oh my god. I actually didn't expect him to beat him all that quickly. I thought that was going to be a struggle, but when you freeze a balloon and then you use a shard on it, is that damage nasty? However, again, I think it's going to be very hard to keep up. Normal balloons mostly. Level 9 is going to help, but I don't know. With the slow leveling rate, it's going to take forever to get his damage levels through, so I think we might be dead before mobs get us. I'm thinking, like, a zebra round, for example. What the hell? This round is infinitely tougher than a Moab. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think this might be the end of the true solo hero test. When I mean true, I just mean no village, but now we're going to add a village because I need it. Level 9 does not help us at all. We're going to use all that 8k, the 10k that I built up, into an 030. And now let me show you how much of a difference that makes. That should make this round a piece of cake, right? Okay, I lied. Mib is not the savior that I thought it would be, because that's all going to leak, unless I use the that ability, the A-Shard, but I'm still going to leak some lives here. As long as I survive, whatever. Wow, that's really bad, though. 41 lives even with a Mib. Yikes. As you see, it's not the strong rounds that are going to kill us, it's going to be the group rounds where, because Silas takes 2 shots to do damage at all, it just takes forever to ramp up. So he'll struggle to, I think, next round more than these high tier ramps, because the rhyme effect soaks through layers, as you see. Therefore, making it very, very, very easy to get damage in. Now, 44 was not as hard as I thought, so that's good. 45 shouldn't be that bad either. Did I say it shouldn't be too bad? Well, I do a little bit of trolling here. Yeah, we're dead. Pinks are so over. I don't think, no matter how many lives I've banked, this would be enough. Like, the rainbows are fine. It's just we get hella overwhelmed the moment it just spams pinks at us. Like, what the hell? This ain't even gonna be close. I'll use a shard here, but the shard is so worthless if it's only Silas. Yeah, I'm done. The pinks are still coming out. Round 45 is the end for Silas, so I guess that should be as expected. I knew the first 30 rounds were probably a little bit too good to be true. Now an outbuff should help a lot of that, because if that doesn't that mean that Silas's 0 damage will now at least do 1 damage? Let me just see. Like, I'm looking carefully if I target on last, and no, okay, it still does 0 damage, but hell, even just the outbuff doing damage is a big help for us. That 200 damage will pop down enough pinks that we should survive this round here. Nice. I don't even want to think what round 49 would have been like if we didn't have the outbuff, but I think even with Jungle Jumps and outbuff, this round still might be a wee bit troublesome. Again, saving the ice shards for the most amount of Orion balloons possible, but I create a Riga farm, so I think I might not have to add more buffs this round. Let's see what Overclock changes. I would have to assume a lot more attack speed means he can Orion balloons faster, and I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just more damage overall. Regrows might still be an issue though. I'll save my ice shards for it to delete as many regrows as possible, and there we go. We just had to inject a crap ton of cash for Overclock, and we're good now. But again, I might have to inject even more cash because the way things are looking, we're not going to afford level 20 Silas until, like, I don't know, around 100 billion. Of course, we'll see how long we can roll without having to buy any more upgrades, though. And it seems like Silas has finally found his groove now that he got overclocked. He's shredding through the mid-50s here, enough that we can actually get some real farms in the form of a BRF. Level 10 is now an option, too. But it seems like we don't need it. What a difference one buff makes, and yep, he can solo BFB too, very easily in fact. Now hold up here, huge regrow farm this round, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ice them in place so that they don't freeze or don't regrow for a little bit. I think it's all for naught though, oh man, okay. Ugly regrow farm gets us this round. Unfortunately, level 11 doesn't really do much. This might be the round where I have to add more. Alternatively, what I did was I used the big freeze early to stop any regrows from happening in the first place, and so that makes things a little bit better. Not good enough, though. I think it's time to inject some more buffs. And for that, hallelujah, we just had enough money to afford a Called Aurum, so that should be a big boost. Simply freeze everything, like here. Use this ability now, and with the attack speed, should delete any and all regrows before they become a threat. Attaboy. And now if I remember what I talked about in early access, every level after level 13 is simply just a huge power increase, or all damage given to Silas, so this should make getting through to around 100 a lot easier. Haven't had any problems since the 60s in the regrows, and now with an Ultra Boost, that should make things even less of a problem. Speak of the devil, I forgot that this round is an incredibly regrow-like round. So laggy, so many regrows that our game has frozen, just like Silas, haha. And even with 2 Ultra Boost stacks, I am not getting through this round. Let me regroup. Alright, I tried multiple times, but the only way I can get through this round is literally by spamming grow blockers around the entire map so that these regrows never end up pouncing on us. Even then, though, they do get quite far and scary. But this is definitely a manageable amount of regrows, yeah? Yep, threat neutralized. Also, I think it makes sense if we're buffing Silas to might as well try to use his advanced intel. So an Ice Monkey in range here to allow Silas to hit the ZMG a little bit earlier. Wow, 10 damage per freeze, but we have to use the ability here for a bit more damage. This is also my first look at the new skin, and I'm not gonna lie, I hate it. How can I tell what % damage that ZOMG is? It's completely hidden behind all the flowers and whatnot. I think what I'm gonna need is probably... I don't need full map coverage, just enough coverage, so... How about 4 ice towers, 5 ice towers? This is like 95% track coverage. Anyway, 10,000 years later, we finally popped down the ZMG. Like, it's pretty early, but it's just a long time. Oh yeah, I also just remembered that with getting other ice towers, technically the ice shard ability is a lot stronger now. But I still think that counts as Silas, right? Because remember, the pops on the ice shard ability go on Silas, even though it comes up from the Ice Monkey. So in a way, it feels like the Ice Monkeys are doing damage, but I mean, I'll allow it. I'll allow it for the sake of the satisfying attack they see here. Something about just spawning those bolts on top, or like indirectly on Bloons, is just cool to look at from a distance. And oh my god, we got Homeland now, and I think it might have been level 15. Frozen Bloons taking more damage from all abilities, I think was definitely the reason why we destroyed the ZMG so fast there, and not just the 2x from Homeland. Man, petition to allow us to freeze or have frozen effect on bats, because yeah, like, you're gonna see how good this is, and then him just run into a brick wall on around 100, because you can't freeze a bat, so he loses like 90% of his damage. Again, let me show you on round 88 here. Use this ability, and goodbye ZMGs on the first bend. Good god, just look at Silas rhyming the balloons so hard right now. It's crazy. Now, if I had Silas on water, I could probably add a reactor for faster cooldowns. I guess Energizer too. But technically that does a lot of damage, so I don't know. I want to avoid it. 95 somehow, the purples and leads push us more than anything else, but just the homeland activation and level 3 pushes all those DDTs and mobs back. Very satisfying. And now let's just finish off by buying level 20. Okay, I'm also kind of annoyed that this Ice Monkey did 13,000 damage. Like, really? A 001 Ice Monkey. So much for a Silas solo, but, I mean, again, nothing I can do. I want to get it for intel, but it just inadvertently does so much damage with the Ice Skulls moving around. Consider this the unofficial solo super buffing test. 98 is going to be a fun one, since when is 98, or destroying 98 never not fun. Let me freeze all those balloons in place. Silas, as a support, is doing 20,000 DPS. Sheesh. Oh my god. One more round before the round that kills us, or maybe there's a chance, you never know. We'll use Homeland now, use the ability, but if you take a look, yeah, it's going up by single digits every attack. Sad. Ice Shard does like 300, 500. Even if it was in the middle, it would do only several thousand. I've tried this before in my early access. I know that we can't beat around 100. Because bats are lame, I think we're just going to skip forward to some very interesting non-bad rounds, like say 111, and now I'm going to end Energizer, even though that adds a lot of damage to the mix. With faster cooldowns, here's what we're looking at. Use level 3, use Homeland. Let's use our Ice Shard ability right now. Freeze everything when it's close to Silas, and say goodbye to one of the densest rounds in all of BTD 6 free play. Not even close. Round 137, you might not recall, is really dense, but I know it is really dense, so here we go again. I'm not going to add any buffs further from here because, well, I think the Gold Village mod that I normally do isn't currently working post-update. Takes time for update, and I'd rather not have a True Sun God take away damage, so I mean, it's not, again, we don't really need more damage. We have so much utility from Silas that it doesn't matter how much HP these balloons have, really. It'll take him down eventually, while making them really slow in the process. See? There is all of 137. As one final test, we're going to make a big leap over to round 207. A reason being, even though there may be bats that spawn out this round, as you see, I want to see how it does against the super hyper buff balloons. Like, you know, okay, these mobs here have so much HP, and they also have slow resistance. If you don't know, past a certain round, balloons start to get affected by slows less and less. So if we're looking at mobs, for example, here, oh my god, we might actually die to them. My bad, y'all. We are gonna die to these cerams here, but don't mind. I'm just gonna Ice Skulls to pop them. Yeah, due to slow resistance and lack of damage, definitely do not use Silas in the late game. Epic late game. Just here to show you, I guess, how much faster those balloons move because of slow resist and normal attack speed. So, thank you for watching. If there are any other cool tricks or ideas with Silas that you would like me to go over, then do let me know. I am curious, or I'm very interested to play with Silas more.